Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good morning. Can we all hear me?
Yes, please. Good morning, Mr. Israel.
All right. So let's just I think like let's say just 2 or 3 minutes for those that are not here with us to join us. I've put the link in the channel. So Please let's mute our mics, please. Please let's mute our mics. All right, good morning, everyone. Good day, wherever you're joining us from. For those that are joining us from South Africa, Zambia, Kenya, Malawi, Nigeria, and wherever it is you're joining us from, good day to you. Can we just say hello, hi in the comment section? So I'm certain that we can hear me. Yes, good morning, Joy. Hello, good morning. Hello, hi. Good morning, everyone. Is hi, I said, I don't say raise your hand. Success, put down your hand. That some people usually, their hand just goes directly to that raising of hand immediately. Yes, hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Yes, Christy, hi, how are you doing? Okay, so the person that raised their hand, Success, was it a mistake or did you have something to say? Oh, it was a mistake. All right, no problem. Okay, so good morning, good day,
It
everyone.
was a mistake, please. Good
All
morning.
right, no problem. Yeah, good morning. Yes, good morning, Halima. All right. So, please let's, in case some people are still trying to join through the comment section and they cannot find the link, you can please just post the link, help them do that. All right, so let's begin. So we'll kick off with our usual review of everything we covered yesterday on documentation, reporting, and AI automation. So it was about making the TPMs role scalable and efficient. Okay, so we talked about the documentation standards and the single source of truth, which is the SSOT. And we're able to establish that the TPM's core responsibility is maintaining the single source of truth to prevent political and technical risk. Talked about some key documents, which I'll call the three pillars, which is the project charter, which is the authorization document. It is written once and it defines the why and the success metrics of the project, and the status report as well, which is the primary communication tool that is used. Talk about the red, amber, green framework, and provides regular updates to high power stakeholders. We also talked about the lessons learned document, which is the organizational learning document that captures what went well, what went wrong, and is functionally derived from the frequent sprint retrospective in the agile environment. We looked at a key distinction for a modern technical project manager, which is shifting the reporting mindset. Okay. And we talked about status, what happened, what did we spend, what did we finish. Also talked about forecast, which is predictive, what will happen, when we will finish, where we will overrun the budget. Okay. So that being said, talk about the value of the forecast as well, because the executive stakeholders, which we keep satisfied, which we manage closely, need the forecast because it enables them to make proactive decisions. For example, to approve a contingency hire before the project is actually late. So we spoke about AI as the administrative assistant. We positioned AI as the multiplier for the technical project manager, eliminating the administrative work like note taking and I see somebody or a couple of people are transcribing this meeting. Another was taking notes of this meeting using AI. So that is a method in which AI is able to help. Some people will be able to take notes of this meeting without having to actually write anything down. So meeting automation, those tools that eliminate the need for manual note taking, they automatically transcribe calls and summarize action items and key decisions for immediate distribution. So this allows the TPM to focus on listening and mediation. So these tools draft audience-specific reports based on your communication matrix. So we also talk about the RTF framework, and we spoke about that we should always use AI to generate the first draft, but the final accountability is yourself. So you must fact check against the sourced data, which is the Jira budget sheet. So using the ROTF framework, which will be able to provide the discipline that is needed to get a professional tailored report from an AI tool. So so that is what we spoke about yesterday, and today we'll be going into another topic. But before then, I want to talk about why we try to make the boot camp intensive. I'm sure you might have heard that word before, and you should try and give it your best. We spoke about it extensively yesterday, where some persons are not able to meet up or are not consistent enough Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of how of every single one of us that is here. You've made the decision to show up, and that's already a huge step forward. So not everyone gets up and decides to invest in themselves, but you did. So you know I want us to just take a moment, celebrate ourselves. Can do that in the comment section. Celebrate somebody in the comment section. Just celebrate anybody you like. I want to see if you've known somebody. I'm not celebrating anybody, or is it my network? If you don't want to celebrate anybody, celebrate yourself for being consistent. Okay, okay, okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. Only one person. I celebrate myself. Well, that's you celebrated somebody else first. Irene. Okay, that's good. Consistent and missing 2 days. Okay. Oh, that's so good. Vivian, Oguchuku, Irene again. Irene, boy two. Kenyan lady, I cannot pronounce him. Well, who is the Kenyan lady? She should say what her name is. Boy two, you are celebrated again. Sarah, another boy two again. Wow. And somebody celebrating all the women. That's wonderful. So um I'm happy you are able to celebrate that. Yes, from Zambia. Good, good, good. Mirabel and all the women. Yeah, that's wonderful. She said what her name is in case you want to celebrate her. So somebody please celebrate her too. All right. So um now I want to be honest with you. The boot camp is somebody is also celebrating me. Halima, thank you very much for celebrating me. I have also not missed a day on this journey, so I also celebrate myself. This is day 8. Yeah, the 8. So I celebrate myself too. So I want to be honest. This the boot camp is intensive. It's not a walk in the park, and it's not something you just breeze through. And that is very intentional because growth doesn't happen in comfort. So transformation doesn't happen when things um, are easy. It happens when you are stretched and you are challenged and sometimes even frustrated, but you keep going. So the reason it's intensive is because the program is designed to build something inside you. It's not just about new skills or just knowledge, it's about the mindset and the discipline and the confidence and capacity. So it's about preparing you to step into bigger spaces, take on tougher challenges, and to hold your ground with excellence and with grace. So think about it like a workout. If you only lift weights, your muscles never grow. But when you push a little harder, when you feel the burn, and that's when the strengths start forming. So that's exactly what this boot camp does. It stretches you so that when life or your career brings pressure, you know, I hope that what we've done here will prepare you and you'll be ready. And I know there will be moments where you probably feel tired or even wonder, why am I doing this? But those are the exact moments where you must remind yourself that you are not here by accident, and you are here because you can handle it. And you're here because something in you said, I want more and I can be more. There are people that are already working that are still here, and I believe they have been able to gain something from here. Okay? There are people who are mothers, people um, who are probably married and already working, and they are trying to get into um, the tech career or the tech path or tech line. So it's definitely um, an inconvenience, at least over the next few weeks, an inconvenience to themselves and their routine and their life. Okay, so it's not just about teaching; it's about the person you are becoming through the process. Every task, every challenge, every study, every morning, shaping you to someone stronger, smarter, and more confident. And don't compare your progress to anyone else. Everyone is on her journey. Some might pick things faster, others might take things with a little more time. Both are perfectly fine. What matters is that you show up, you give your best, and you keep learning. So remember, no one's expecting perfection. What we're asking for is effort, consistency, and you have your heart in it. Because when you give your best, something beautiful happens. You begin to see the the person that you are truly capable of being. So the women's boot camp is intensive, every day 4 hours, but it is intensive with a purpose. It is designed to, you know, unlock something that's powerful in you. And if you commit, if you stay open, if you give your best, I promise you look back and say, I'm glad I didn't give up. So, let's agree today. We are going to, give our best. We're going to show up every day for the remainder of what we have: curiosity, determination, and we're going to support one another. Very important. Please, let's support one another. And we are going to grow together. And by the end, we're not just finishing a boot camp, we are working out transformed. Okay? So this is not a training, this is not just another training, another certificate for you to earn. This is a like call it a movement. And every one of you are part of something special. Thank you for listening to my rambling. And let's see what we can make the most out of in the next few hours. Okay. I think I've taken our time. So let's dive let's dive into the 8th of our technical project management bootcamp. So give yourself a round of applause for making it this far. So today we'll be tackling the quantitative inputs and the numbers that turn your project vision into a financial reality. So this is where your strength as a detailed, oriented, strategic thinker truly shines. Okay? Well, I forgot to do something. Okay, so I think it should be a lot more better now. So hope you can still see my screen. So
Yes, we can.
yeah, so
Yes.
and budgeting fundamentals. So we spent the last few days mapping out the what, which is our scope, and the when, our schedule. Today we'll try to conquer the how much. So this is, a very critical.
Hey, Mr. Israel. I've been raising my hand, sorry.
Yes. Is it pertaining to what I just said?
No, sir, it's pertaining to something since before now. The day 5 recording, that's recording for on Friday. I don't know if I'm the only person that cannot find it, and I really need it.
Don't worry. Once we get to our Q and A, just ask that question so that we'll solve it then.
All right, thank you.
Right. So let's um put down our hands, and then for the next like hour or so, let's go into what we have for today. One other person's hand is still raised. That is um Adeleke Buki. So if you can please just let's go into what we have for today. You can ask the question. All right, all right. So as I was saying, um, this is a critical and sometimes intimidating part of the technical project management role. But I promise by the end of the session, you will feel confident, prepared, and ready to own your project's budget. So we are quantifying the project, and today we'll dive into the resource planning. And this isn't just about people, it's about all the ingredients, the people, and the tech that make your product possible. And we'll move into cost management, covering the three critical phases: estimating, budget, and control. I'll also talk about the secrets to a successful budget, the importance of contingency, and this is how you, as a strong TPM, prepares for the inevitable bumps in the road. So today, let's quickly anchor ourselves back to the core of project management, something we call the iron triangle. Now, I think it was on day 4 where we spoke about scope, we spoke about the work breakdown structure, we discussed schedule, and how we manage with our Gantt charts and milestones. So today we'll complete the triangle. No, I did not post the slide, or I haven't posted the slide. So this slide says your primary responsibility is to manage all 3 constraints. This is your power center. Think of this like if scope is a rubber band, schedule is another, and cost is the third. If you pull one, you have a scope change. You have to build more. It immediately puts stress on the other 2. You either need more time or more money, or likely both. So your job as a technical project manager is to be the intelligent, strategic balancer, making sure you deliver the required scope on time and on budget. Okay, so let's look at the foundations of all planning. Let's reinforce a crucial point. The work breakdown structure is the single source of truth for planning. You cannot plan resources or cost without it. Why? Because the WBS is a hierarchical breakdown of 100% of the project's scope. It ensures that you account for every piece of work. When we talk about planning, Resource planning we assign the who, which is people, and what, servers, software, to each element in the work breakdown structure. For example, who do we need to work on work breakdown structure 1.1? That is the core backend service. If you recall, when we're talking about the core backend service. Cost planning. We assigned a dollar value or an hour count to each WBS elements. Now, the reason I'm using dollar value because it's the world's reserve currency. And I don't want to use a single currency that is in Africa. So Nigeria has naira, some other Ghana has another currency and so on. So I'm using the world's reserve currency, which happens to be dollar. So just in case you are wondering why I'm using dollar. So we assign a dollar value or an hour count to each WBS element. For example, what is the budget for WBS 1.2? The user interface, that's, So the golden rule for a technical project manager is simple. All planning must be traceable back to a specific WBS element. If someone asks you why you need 5,000 for a new software license, you must be able to point directly to the WBS task that requires it. This ties your budget directly to your work, to the work, making you highly defensible and credible. So in the next slide, we talk about the project resource management. Now, let's start with a formal definition. Project resource management is all the processes required to identify, acquire, and manage the resources needed for the successful completion of the project. When we say resources, we often think of people, but that's only half the story. Resources include, first the human resources, which is the people. This is your team, their skills, their roles, and their capacity. This could be your lead developer, your QA analyst, or even you, the technical project manager. You have physical resources, the tech and the facilities. This is the tech stack and the physical space. Things like cloud computing servers, AWS or Azure, software licenses like a Figma license for your designer, or a testing lab. So your main focus as a TPM, especially in the tech space, is ensuring that you have the right people with the right skills at the right time. And this is about empowering your team by giving them exactly what they need to succeed. Okay, so let me try to be a little bit interactive. Is there, okay, let's just move forward. I guess I'll just do that later on. So in our next slide, we talk about the resource planning process. Resource planning is not a one-time thing. It is a systematic process with our 4 main steps. You plan resource management. Plan resource management. Before you get resources, you plan how you will manage them. This is where you create the plan for identifying acquiring, and managing a key Please let's mute our mics. A key output here is defining roles and responsibility using a tool like the RACI chart. I think we're going to talk about that as well. So estimate activity resources. I think that's number 2. Yeah. So this is where you look at the lowest level of your WBS, the work packages, and determine the type and quantity of resources needed. For example, looking at the user authentication API work package, you determine whether you need 2 senior backend engineers for 3 weeks and 1 QA analyst for 1 week. Next, acquire resources. So this is the execution step, actually securing the team members, purchasing the hardware, and booking the facilities. Next, manage and control resources. So this is the day-to-day work. It is the leadership, the feedback, the team development, and the optimization of resource use. It's making sure your engineers aren't idle and your servers are not over provisioned. Okay. So in the next slide, we talk about inputs for resource planning. So to do this planning well, you need 3 key inputs. You have the WBS, or scope baseline. As we said, this is the most important input because it tells you exactly what needs to be built. It tells you exactly what needs to be built. Okay. So there's something called the WBS dictionary. Now, this is a companion document to the WBS that provides a detailed description of the work package in each package. So when we have we have English language, and then we have the dictionary. Okay. So the WBS dictionary is similar in that regard, where you have the English language words, and you go to the dictionary to check the meaning. The same thing with the WBS dictionary. If you have user authentication in your WBS, you have user authentication in your WBS, I don't know what that means. You can go to dictionary to check. It tells you what it means there. So this detail is crucial because it tells you the specific skills that is required. For instance, if the dictionary says the work requires Java Spring Boot framework, you need a Java expert, not a Python expert. This detail saves you from making bad hiring or assignment decisions. So, project schedule. Now, this tells you when you need the resources. If you don't want to hire your QA team on day one, if they won't have anything, they until schedule allows you for just-in-time resourcing, which saves the project money. Okay. So, the next slide, we talk about the resource requirements, which is the first output. So the first major output for your planning process is the resource requirements document. Now, this is a clear, concise list of the types and quantities of resources that are needed for each WBS package. Now, if you look at the example for the mobile banking app, which we have been using, for WPS 1.1, which is the core backend, we need specific people and physical resources. So we need 2 senior backend engineers with Java expertise, a database administrator, and a cloud server instance. So for WBS 1.2, which is the front end, we need these specific developers and software licenses they require. So an iOS developer with Swift, an Android developer with Kotlin, and a UI UX designer with a Figma license. So notice the precision here. We are not just saying developer, we are specifying the number, the seniority, and the technology stack. So precision is power in project management. Okay. So in the next slide, which is resource breakdown structure. Now, just like the WBS breaks down the scope, the resource breakdown structure, or the RBS, breaks down resources. So this is a chart that groups resources by type. So this is a powerful organization. Its main purpose is to help you, the technical project manager, visually organize all required resources and critically use this structure to track resource costs. Think of it like an organizational chart for your needs. You start high up with the mobile app team, then you break it down into functional areas like engineering, design, compliance, and under engineering, you have to break it down further into back-end team, front-end team, and finally, you list the individual roles like Java Dev 1, Java Dev 2, and DBA. Okay. So this structure is a map that allows you to see resource allocation and expenditure at a level of detail. So, I'm introducing some new concepts here. So, let's try and pay attention and let it digest. So, the tool or a tool that we can use for this is something we call the RACI matrix. Yesterday, someone asked something like that, and let's look into that today. The RACI matrix is a fantastic tool that eliminates ambiguity and is a great asset in your communication toolbox. It maps WBS tasks to specific people, telling everyone exactly what their responsibility is. So RACI is an acronym for 4 key rules. R is for responsible. So this is the person doing the work. If the task is write the API code, the lead developer is responsible. A is for accountable. This is the person who is ultimately answerable for the deliverable being completed correctly. There can only be one. So if everyone is accountable, no one is. So this is usually the product owner or the senior manager. C is for consulted. Now, this is the subject matter expert who provides input and is required to give feedback before the work is done. A security engineer, for instance. I is for informed. Now, this is someone who is kept up to date on progress, usually after the work is done. This could be a project sponsor. Now, the RACI chart prevents the classic problem of, when you say, I thought you were the one doing that. So you as the TPM will use this to set clear expectations and empower your team members with defined ownership. So agile resource planning. So Now, let's talk about the agile world, because which is often where our technical project management manager roles live. Now, in traditional planning, you assign a person to a task for a fixed duration, like say WBS 1.1 will take 60 days. Okay. Now, in agile, you shift your focus, you assign a stable cross-functional team to the project and let them pull work based on their capabilities. You manage the team's overall ability to deliver. Use two main concepts: velocity. Now, velocity is the team's historical average of how much work, usually measured in story points. We've spoken about this, and they complete per sprint. Think of velocity as your forecasting tool. If your team consistently completes 30 story points every 2 weeks, you can confidently predict that when they will finish the remaining 300 points of the project. Another one is called velocity. So this is the team's actual availability for the upcoming sprint. You calculate the total available hours and you subtract time off, holiday, training. For example, we have 80 team hours. Let's say we minus 10 hours for vacation. So our capacity is 70 hours. So in Agile, your job as a technical project manager is not to manage individual tasks, but to manage the team's capacity and crucially to protect them from overcommitment. You are their shield, ensuring they have focused time to do their best work. Okay. So now that was resource planning. We figured out who and what we need. Next, we figure out how much they cost. So this is the realm of financial planning. Now, the cost management lifecycle. Now, similar to resources, cost management is a formal four-step process for managing project finances. One, you plan cost management. You create a plan for how you estimate, budget, and control cost. This defines your currency, dollar, euros, your unit of measure, which is hours, days. For the currency, dollars, naira, is it cedis now? Is it peso? And all other currencies, wherever it is that you may be working. So, but two, you estimate cost. Now, this is the predictive process of developing an approximation of the monetary resources that is needed. This step is a forecast. We'll spend some, a few slides talking on how to do this. Number three, you determine budget. Now, this takes all your individual cost estimates and aggregates them to established and authorized cost baseline. So this step is your official plan for control costs. So this is the execution phase where you monitor the project's financial status and manage any changes to the cost baseline. Now, what is cost estimating? Which is the prediction. Okay, so let's focus on step two. Now, cost estimation is a quantitative forecast of the likely cost of the resources required to complete the project activities. It is important to remember that an estimate is an approximation, not a guarantee. But a good TPM is prepared to defend our approximation. The fundamental source for all cost estimates in the WBS Every single element must have cost estimate attached to it. Create an estimate, you need three. That's to create an estimate, you need three key inputs. Number one, resource requirements. You can't estimate cost until you know who you need. Earlier slide where we talked about this. Number two, the schedule. You need to know how long you need them. Number three, risk register. Tax may require task that is in risk register. High risk tax may require a higher cost estimate because you know there is a greater chance of rework or issues. So the basic formula is simple but extremely powerful. Cost equals to labor hours times hourly rate. Alpha. Plus, let's mute our mics, please. Labor hours times or multiplied by hourly rates plus physical resources costs, which is the servers, software. So it's on the slide, so you can even see it. So this is the formula that we use. Now, let's look at cost estimating techniques. We have three primary techniques for developing cost estimates, ranging from fast and inaccurate, slow, and highly accurate. Number one, you have the analogous estimating, top down. This uses historical data from a similar past project. For instance, last mobile app we built cost 500,000. So this one will also cost 500,000. So now the positive of this is that it is fast and it is cheap. Now the negative, which is the con, is that it's the least accurate. It is best for early stage rough estimates that are often called the ballpark figure. Another one is parametric estimating. So this uses a statistical relationship or parameter to calculate the cost. So you are using past data to create a multiplier. A classic example of this is our data shows it costs, say, $150 per line of code. We estimate 10,000 lines of code. So the cost is 1.5 million. Okay. So this is much more accurate than the previous estimating technique. So, but this only works if your historical data is reliable and the work is truly repeatable. Then we have bottom-up estimating. Now, this is the gold standard. You estimate the cost for every single WPS package, and then you roll them up to get a total. So this is the most accurate, and it is defensible method because it is tied directly to the detailed WBS. It is also the slowest and most expensive method to perform initially. So let's go into a deep dive of the gold standard, which is the bottom-up estimating as a technical project manager's tool. So the bottom-up estimating, is the most crucial technique. the most crucial technique for a TPM. Now, why is this? Is because it directly empowers you to own and defend your budget. Now, here is the process. We start at the lowest level of your WBS, which is the work package. Okay. So now, using your resource requirements from earlier slide, I think that should be slide 8, you estimate the cost for that single package. For example, for the authentication API, I hope we can see the screen. So just try and follow and listen to my explanation. For the authentication API, we need 2 developers for 80 hours each at $100 an hour. So that's a total labor cost of $16,000. You do the same for the next package. Say the transaction layer. 3 developers for 120 hours at $100 per hour. That totals $36,000. Finally, you roll up these numbers. The total estimate for WBS 1.1 core backend is 16,000 plus 36,000, which equals what? 52,000. The massive benefit here is that this estimate is directly tied to the project scope, which is the WBS, making it highly credible and easy to track. So when you ask for money, you can point to the exact pieces of work that it will cover. Okay, so this is extremely simple if you understand it. So now let's move from estimating to cost budgeting. So cost budgeting is the process of taking all those individual cost estimates from previous step and aggregating them into an authorized 3-phased budget. So the key distinction is that the budget is an authorization, not a prediction. So it is the official approved amount that the project sponsor or management has given you, the TPM, to spend. So the main output of this process is the cost baseline. Cost baseline is the approved time-phased spending plan. It is often visualized as an S-curve on a graph showing the cumulative money you plan to spend month by month. Now, we can try this. Go online, maybe your phone now, and just search the S-curve to see a visual representation. I should have included it here. I'm sorry for that. See a visual representation of that. So the baseline is absolutely critical because it is the standard against which your performance will be measured. In our next slide, we talk about estimating versus budgeting. So the slide provides a great summary table to look in the differences between these two concepts. So think of the analogy on the slide. Estimating is saying, based on my research, the new house will likely cost $45,000 to build. Okay. Budgeting is when your bank or sponsor comes back and says you are hereby authorized to spend $500,000 to build this house. The budget is the official permission to be able to go ahead. Now we talk about the cost baseline, which is the S curve. I hope most of us have been able to go online and quickly check a visual representation of this S curve. So the cost baseline takes your WPS estimates and plots them over time using your schedule, and it shows the cumulative cost you plan to spend. So why is it called S curve? Because your spending is typically slow at the start, during planning, during setup, accelerates rapidly during the middle or and core execution phase where your whole team is working. Slows down again at the end during the final testing and closure. So your job as the TPM is to track your actual costs against the cost baseline. This is how you confidently tell your stakeholders we are on track. So we are $10,000 over the budget this month, and here's why, and things like that. Okay. So linking your WBS to costs. Now, I would employ us to go and study this particular stuff again, even while we're done. And so that you have a better understanding. Like I said, some people are able to catch on faster. That is fine. Some people need for it to be broken down and listen to it multiple times before they understand. So we're talking about the S curve. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about now linking the WBS to costs. So managing every single task is too much work. That's why we have to use a practical tool to aggregate our management effort. The control account. The control account. A control account is a management point where you integrate and compare the three constraints: scope, schedule, and cost. Scope, schedule, and cost. Now, example, the WBS 1.1 core backend service is a control account. That's a defined scope. All the work in the packages underneath it. So it has an authorized budget of say $100,000. That's a scheduled duration of 60 days. Now, your action as the technical project manager is to report on the health of this account. WBS is currently on schedule and under budget. This gives management a high-level integrated view of the project's health. Okay, so we've covered resources, covered the core budget, the cost, and all the new work. Now we address the real world where things inevitably go wrong. We are going to talk about being strategic and preparing for the unexpected with reserves. So why do we need reserves? The risk versus the uncertainty. Now, the problem is that your detailed bottom-up estimate from the previous slide is perfect only if everything goes exactly as planned. And that never happens. That never happens. As a strong leader, you must proactively add money to the budget to account for things going wrong. You must formally request a budget that includes reserves for risk. We have two types of reserves, which addresses two kinds of problems. We have the contingency reserves for, for known risk. Now, these are risks that we have been able to identify. Now, management reserves, this is for unknown risk. Now, these are the things that completely surprise us. Now, let's look at the known unknowns, which is the contingency reserve. Now, Contingency reserves are monetary reserves set aside to address the cost impact of specific identified risk. We call this known unknowns. We know they might happen, but we don't know if or when. The source for this reserve is your risk register, which we have spoken about in other classes. You know? So how does it work? You identify a risk. If the external API fails integration, then we need 2 weeks of rework, for example. Now you estimate the cost of that rework. 2 weeks of rework equals, say, on $10,000. You add that $10,000 to your contingency reserve specifically for that risk. Now, the great news is that the technical project manager controls this reserve. So you can use it as needed to mitigate the risk you've identified, giving you power and flexibility in the face of inevitable issues. Okay. So in our next slide, let's talk about the unknown unknowns, which is the management reserves. Now, the management reserves are set aside to address the cost impact of unforeseen events or massive scope change that were not identified in the risk register. These are the unknown unknowns. You have examples, major systematic events, sudden global events that stops all work, or a surprise launch by a major competitor that forces you to pivot your entire project decision. Now, who controls it? The project sponsor or upper management controls that reserve. You, the technical project manager, must formally request access to these funds, usually through a formal change request. It is typically calculated as a flat percentage of the total project cost, maybe 5 to 10%. So this is the organization being responsible and holding funds for the truly unexpected. Now, we look at the full project budget in our next slide. So this slide shows us how all the pieces fit together to create the final total budget you request from the sponsor. So it is the final stack, showing how all the pieces have worked together to fit together into the final financial request. The WBS cost estimate, the perfect world cost for all known scope, $450,000 as an example. We built using bottom-up estimating, plus contingency reserve. Now, this is your known risk that is tied to your risk register. Let's say 50,000 equals cost baseline. This is the official authorized budget that you, the technical project manager, will manage. So 500,000 plus management reserve. So this is the unknown risk buffer that is controlled by the sponsor. Let's say 50,000, which will now equal the total project budget. So this is the full amount the company has allocated for the project, which is $550 $500,000. Now you are responsible for delivering the project within the cost baseline number 500,000. Okay. So now let's look at how all of them connect, and let's look at how the beautiful roadmap that you've created. Now in day 4, I believe it's day 4. If I'm wrong, hey, that would be an issue. So in day 4, in the WBS, when we first introduced it, we defined 100% of the scope. WBS 1.1, WBS 1.2. By day 8, which is today, we are talking about the resources. We've assigned the resources, the who, and the what to each WBS element. The same day 8, we created a cost estimate for those resources. In the 5, we talk about the risk. Identify the risk for the WBS. Now the 8th day, we talk about the reserves. We added a contingency reserve for those risks. As well as we talked about budgeting. We rolled up everything into the cost baseline. So do you see the trend that everything is interconnected, everything is traceable? So this is what makes you a good technical project manager. Okay. So we'll finish with these 3 key takeaways to carry you. All planning, resources, and cost must be tied back to the WBS. No WBS, no credibility. Estimating is a prediction. Budgeting is an authorization. Know the difference, use the right language with your stakeholders, and a professional technical project manager always includes contingency reserves for known risk in their budget request. So be the confident leader who plans for reality and not perfection. So this is your expertise, this is your value. This is how you confidently quantify your project and take ownership of the budget. All right. So let's take a breath before we go into reviewing some of our student work and the final homework assignments. So what questions do you have as we've gotten to the point in our class where we seek questions? Now let me go to, maybe I should so thank you for listening and following. I hope you are able to learn something today. So we have any questions? Let me go to the question part of our Ikmot, your hand is raised.
Yes, good morning, coach. Thank you for the class, even though it's a whole lot. But I just want to ask, you mentioned WBS dictionary the other time. Who creates that dictionary? Where do you get like all the detailed information from? That's the first one. And then secondly, how often is the project's budget revised or reviewed to ensure that it's still on track? And what happens in cases when, despite all the contingency reserve and all the other unknown that has been planned for, what happens when the budget is still not enough? Do you go back to go and request for more money, or what do you do?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that question. So the first one is, who creates the WBS dictionary? Now, the WBS dictionary is typically created by the project manager and the project team, often with the input of subject matter expertise. Subject matter expertise, and maybe sometimes key stakeholders. So it is developed alongside the WBS, as we know, during the scope definition process. And the dictionary, expand on each element, describing the deliverables. Let me expand on that dictionary a little bit. So deliverables, activities, resources, costs, acceptance criteria. Basically, it gives meaning and clarity to each work package. So the project manager ensures that it aligns with the project scope. So yes, the project manager, project team, in case project manager doesn't know the definition of some things, and sometimes some stakeholders too can be involved. So that's who creates it. Number two is how often is the project budget reviewed? I think that was the question. So the project budget should be reviewed regularly, not just once. The exact frequency now, it depends on the project's size, project duration, and I guess complexity. But the common patterns is just that you can have a reporting cycle, maybe a weekly or monthly status meeting, even your daily stand-up for agile environment, if it's possible. If it's possible, I'm not saying it should be, but if it's possible, or your sprint review um, meeting. So it can be for waterfall, it can be at the end of each project phase or milestone, and you know it can be just you can set it frequently, weekly, monthly, depends on how your project works. So you have to continuously monitor it, periodically review it throughout the project life cycle to always ensure alignment with the cost baseline. Now, what happens if the contingency is still not enough? Now, if the contingency reserve set aside for the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns is not enough, typically we would immediately escalate to management. The project manager informs the project sponsor and the steering committee or whoever is on top. So that now for the known unknowns, once you escalate it to management, number two, the second thing will be to assess the management reserve. Now, this one is the unknown unknowns, if approved. So the organization may use the management reserve, which is held outside of the project budget, for unknown unknowns or unforeseen risk. Then we might need to re-baseline the budget. If reserves are exhausted, the budget and plan might be reviewed, revised, reapproved to reflect new realities. And then we have to implement the corrective actions, reduce the scope, maybe reprioritize work, adjust resources to be able to stay within feasibility limits. If contingency is not enough, an escalation and formal change control are required. It is not a unilateral project team decision. Okay, so hope that answers your question. No, I've not dropped the material. I believe
Yes,
who
it
will answer
does.
that question.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So
Can I ask one final one before you move?
okay.
Okay, so is there like a standard documentation for all this spending, and then who gets to be in charge of that, so that in cases whereby maybe the budget is not enough, they can present all the evidences that okay, these are the way they've gone about doing the budget, all the way to the reason why it is not enough. So what formal documentation take care of that, and who is in charge of that documentation?
Yes, so there is a standard documentation and procedure for recording and approving these kinds of project spending activities. So you can use it depends. Confluence, you can put it anywhere as long as the people that should have access to it have access to it. Okay. So you can be your cost management. The document is your cost management plan. Your project budget as a document. Your change request form. Your cost performance reports. Your reserve log. Your lessons learned register. These are documents that contain many of these things. Okay. So, and who gets to approve, who gets to document the spending? Spending within approved contingency reserve, the person authorizing that will be the project manager. The spending that requires management reserve, it will be the project sponsor or senior management, or I don't know, whoever that is in charge of that. Any spending that changes the project scope, schedule, or total budget. Now, that one, there are some certain key stakeholders that will be in charge of that. The project sponsor, it not just be one person, it can be the project sponsor, project manager, a product owner, and things like that. Okay, so imagine if you are building a 4-bedroom duplex, encounters maybe unforeseen soil issues that requires like 2 million more for foundational work. You first check if it is covered in your contingency reserve. If yes, you record it in the say reserve log as a document, and you update maybe your cost report. And if it's not enough, you might have to escalate it to management, like explaining the cost, impact, and options. So the project sponsor can review it and approve it, update the project budget. So yeah, there's a standard documentation for that. Okay, so I hope that is a good answer to your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Mirabel.
Can you hear me?
Your voice is very faint.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my network is very, very bad. My network is very, very bad and it's slow. So, sir, when you were talking about the output to the resource breakdown structure, there was some acronym you explained. Where I can't remember it. Where you talk about responsible, enforce. I don't think I got that part clear. Can you please rewind to that?
That is the RACI matrix.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So the RACI matrix, it is a, let me look for an alternate language now that you understand. So it is a responsibility like assignment chart. I don't know, maybe that sounds too complex. Well, yeah, a responsibility assignment chart. And this responsibility assignment chart it defines who does what on a project. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So who does what on a project? It ensures clarity of roles and responsibility. Please, let's mute our mics so that no task is duplicated or neglected. So the acronym RACI stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. So the responsible is the doer. So that is the person or people that actually complete the task or the work. Accountable is the owner, the one that is ultimately answerable for the task being completed correctly. It's the person that approves the work. So, there should be only one owner per task. So the project manager, for example, can be someone that is accountable for a particular task. Then consulted is the advisor. So these are people who provide input, expertise, or advice before the work is done. Next, we have informed, which is the observer. So someone who needs updates on progress or results. They are kept in in the loop. So, for example, maybe the project sponsor, that person needs to be informed about things. Okay. So that is what we mean by RACI matrix or RACI chart. So hope that is clear.
Yes, sir, it's clear. Thank you, sir.
Deborah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for the class. Please, I have two questions. The first one, I just want to get a little clarification from. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to get a little clarification on the question Ikmot asked about who is in charge of recording and approving spending. So I get that the TPM, is in charge of recording and approving in terms of documentation for the spending. But I don't know. I feel like there is an account. I just want to confirm if there is an accounting department or something of that sort where the TPM probably submits documents to then they disburse the amount required for the project. I just want to confirm that, or everything just still revolves around the TPM. Then the second question is that while going through the process, I was just trying to see if I really understand the whole process from creating a clear scope by creating the WBS and all that. So I feel like I got to a pause when that's after creating the WBS from the product manager's backlog. Then I create a budget, and while creating the budget, I first assign resources to each WBS work item, and then I assign costs, estimate. So from your breakdown, the second to the last slide before the question and answer, I identify risk. So I want to ask, how do I identify risk during the planning stage? In our previous class on identifying risk, I've learned how to identify risk like during the progress of the project. For instance, when we talked about a risk where due to a delay in the QA environmental setup, the project might not be able to continue on the agreed timeline. So, but this is the planning phase. We've not started doing anything. We've not started putting plan into action yet. How do I identify that, the sand may not be enough, or how do I just, because everything I believe is just a risk, and like we said, there can be unforeseen things we plan for, but how do I identify some major risks that might come up and then budget for those risks? That's my second question.
Okay. So for your first question, it depends on the scale of the of the um of the company. If it is possible, you have an accounting department where you work with them in terms of budget and in terms of disbursement of money. Yes, it is it is extremely possible. If they don't have it, then it falls on the TPM. So that I believe answers that one. Now for the planning phase, identification of risk. First of all, I believe we've done this before, but let me just do a quick review. Now, step by step, you review documents. Once you've done your WBS, you've done your scope, you've done your project charter, your design, your specification, your requirements, and things like that. These documents will be able to review hidden assumptions, unrealistic constraints, and dependencies that could turn into risk. So example, as we're using, you said, how do I identify if the sand will be bought or something like that? Now, if foundation must be completed before rainy season, the risk can be delayed due to the weather. You also conduct brainstorming sessions. What could go wrong or right as we execute this project? You encourage everyone to share their concerns freely. Okay, it is important. You can have checklists as well. You can learn from past similar projects, industry specific standard. Okay, if you are building a duplex, for example, people that have built duplex before, they've encountered risk. You can use that lesson learned. You know, maybe shortage of cement, shortage of steel, power outage, late payments, you know, experts judgment as well. Consult experts that have done it before. Experienced colleagues. They can identify risks that you may overlook. Okay. So you can also go to the WPS line by line. What could affect the completion of this work package? You identify the risk, identify the dependency. All right. Analyze your external factors, government regulations, economic fluctuations, environmental conditions, community or political issues. Things like that are how you identify risk. I believe we've spoken about this before. I just cannot remember. So all of these things are ways to identify risk in the planning phase. So I hope you understand it now.
Yes, thank you very much. I understand.
Marian.
Hello, Mr. Israel. Good morning from this side. Thank you
Yes.
for today. Okay, so my question has to do with allocation of the resources. I think one of the pages, I think you made reference to the WBS, the breakdown that we use in the day 4 slide. And I want to ask, is it the sole responsibility of the TPM to like allocate like resources for each part of the project? Let's say, and there was a page in this slide that said that okay, for the backend component, we are going to use, let's say, Java Spring Boot and maybe let's say no SQL or something. So is it the TPM that solely determines all of that, or mostly the TPM can seek advice from someone who's an expert in that particular field? Yeah, so that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so it is not the sole responsibility of the TPM to allocate resources. The TPM leads and coordinates the process, but decisions are shared among stakeholders. You have the in a company, you have your project sponsor. You can even have a resource manager. So the TPM is responsible for planning and coordinating how the resources are used. Identify what resources are needed, the people, the materials, the equipment, the budget. Estimate how much each resources will be required and how long. And request those resources from the relevant department. If there is an accounting department, for example, you can request the resource from them to disburse this money. So the TPM is to ensure the efficient utilization and track the performance of all of these resources. So the TPM is more of a resource planner or resource strategist in this regard. Okay, so that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Irene.
All right. Good morning or good day, everyone. I have two questions.
one, you said when budgeting is all about estimation, that is approximation, and that is based on hourly rates, and that's how much is being collected per hour. So I want to ask, what tool helps in resource allocation? Because you also mentioned that you need to also know the person or what you're allocating the resources to before you make your estimation. That means, for instance, if you want to get a DevOps engineer now, you must know or estimate what a DevOps will collect. So all these things, we do this one by one, or there is a template to, or where you look up to know what you're supposed to allocate at that time? Or do you work with a subject matter expert or you just have to do it on your own as a TPM? That's one. So you also mentioned about when in agile planning that you assign a cross-functional team, right? So for instance, now let's say that you want to produce a digital product, which is the end goal of technical project management, right? So, and you need a DevOps and all that. So you engage them for that project and also let them go after the project. That's one. Then to you as a TPM that works for an organization, so you just manage projects as they come, and you are being paid by that organization because you are the TPM. So the cross-functional team, you can gather them together for a particular project. When that project is done, you let them go. Is that how it's work, or you outsource them from your company too?
All right. So for this is your last question. It depends. If the company wants to outsource the people that will build that project, it is possible. If they already have internal developers, internal QAs, and all of those things, they can just in-house build it in-house. So that is that. You can outsource the work and you can build it in-house. So I don't know if that answers that last question. So now for the first question, now you said what tools that can help you in resource allocation. So now the resource breakdown structure helps you in allocation. You answered the question in the question. The resource breakdown structure helps you to allocate money or allocate resources, because the resource breakdown structure shows resources by type and helps you organize what you need. So the resource breakdown structure helps you to do that. In fact, the work breakdown structure too can also help you do that. Now, so if you ask about templates, yes, you can go online and search for resource breakdown sheets or resource estimation templates, resource sheets. They can give you a simple example that you can build in Google Sheets, where you can just list it down. You list the resource type, you list the resource itself, you list the quantity, the effort, you list the rate, you list the cost. There are templates, yes, that you can find online. So as a TPM, you just need to know what to estimate. You identify what to estimate by breaking down the work, consulting experts or past data, using estimation techniques. We spoke about the analogous estimation, parametric estimation, bottom-up estimation. Okay, so you don't just guess, you analyze the data, you consult experience, and you use structured tools. So that, I hope, answers your question. Or does it not? Irene, are you there?
Yes, it's answered the question. Thank you.
Yes. Abigail.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, my question is okay, at what point is costing required in a project? Right? Is it at the planning phase or when development is ongoing? Or the costing that you're talking about here, is it like what's the the engineers, the designers, and the likes, what they'll be paid for the duration of when the project will be completed? Is, I don't know, can you shed more light on that?
So costing primarily is done in the planning phase. That's where you estimate, that's where you budget, and that's where you set your cost baseline that will guide your spending throughout the execution. Okay. So in your initiation phase, in our 5 project phase or project life cycle, you only do high-level cost estimates for the initiation phase. By your planning phase, you do a detailed cost estimation, develop a budget, and create a cost baseline. This is where most costing happen. By your execution phase, all you are doing is tracking and controlling actual spending against the baseline. By your monitoring and controlling phase, you analyze variance, you manage reserves, and you update forecast, estimation. Then your closing phase is just to finalize the accounts, compare plan versus actual cost, and record lessons learned, and so on and so forth. So this is the 5 universal project life phase, as we know, we've talked about before. So yeah, it is primarily done in the planning phase. So I hope that is clear.
Yes, thank you. But what I actually mean is that during developments, that do they need costs, and like, do they need to finance anything during development? Like, at what stage of building a project is the costing required? I don't know if my question is clear enough.
Well, if you agree to pay your developers monthly over the course of the project, you have to be disbursing money from there now. So you cost from the planning phase. You cost from the planning phase. You already know how much you'll be spending throughout the project, except for when something happens and you now overspend. So you cost from the very beginning.
Okay, if I get correctly, the costing is for paying them for their services.
If you get to the development, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, like for paying the developers.
And you already planned for that now, because you have to you have to plan. So you already planned for the payment of developers in the planning phase already. So even when the development of the product starts, you've planned for it. So you just start paying them as you've agreed.
Okay, I get it's clearer now. Thank you very much.
All right. So Mufta.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, good morning.
Okay. So, my first question, I think it was the one that I really asked, which was about the time when you start estimating your costs, and then you already answered that. And then my second question is, during this calculation phase, that's for the cost, is it that you are going to just approximate according to the way they are paying the developers at that stage, or you have to ask the developers like how much did they want to be paid for this service they are going to render? And then is it that after the development stage, after they've already finished everything, they've deployed what you want them to deploy, if it's a software, you are already terminating what you have with them, or how do you go about this estimation of the things?
So is it just like employing somebody? If you want to employ somebody like for a project, let's say if you are employing somebody, a developer, a software engineer, front end, you interview the person and say, okay, this is our budget. We want to pay you $320,000, for example. The person says, okay, I don't think that is convenient for me. It's just like interview. It's just like interviewing someone, and then you guys are agreeing on a price. That's what it is. So the estimation part is just how much we want to spend, what is our budget for this developer, how much do we want to pay him over the course of this project. That's what it is. There's no any special estimation. It's just like, if you employ somebody, and then as you're employing somebody, maybe on a contract basis, say, okay, over the course of these 6 months, we want to pay you $300,000 per month. And the person might agree to it, and the person might disagree, or it might be negotiable, and the person might be able to say, okay, you know what, I want 400, and that's okay. 400 is within our budget, and it's okay, fine. We are going to pay you 400. Now, the company, if the company you are part of course, are the ones that are going to be disbursing the salary to this person. Now, if the person is already in-house, so the person already has an agreed payment, you can just bring the person on and say, okay, join in, and we'll be doing this project, and the person is part of the project. So the company is still paying the person. Okay, so hope that is clear.
Yes, it's clear, but I still have another question, sir. The second question is, at what point do you bargain with the company about the approximate price you're going to be doing a project? Is it that you will be proposing amount for them to then give you their feedback on how they can pay for that particular project, or they are the ones to give you the budget they have for a project like that in their
Which
company?
person are you referring to? Is it the technical project manager or maybe a developer?
No, not the developer. Now I'm talking about the CEO of the company or the project owner. Now,
The what?
what stage, like when you're beginning with as the project manager, bringing a project to, let's say, a new project to a company now. So at what stage do you bargain about the approximate amount to carry out that project for the company? Like with
Well,
the
if a
CEO,
project man, if a company
that's like a
wants
new
to
project.
start a new project, and they bring about a project manager that will help manage the project, and they tell the project manager to maybe work on the project charter, or let's say a project proposal. The
Yes.
proposal, it will include a budget in the proposal, and then they set a meeting to discuss it. There's no all those is the initiation phase. That is the very beginning. And once from the initiation phase is when they're bringing on the project manager, and then they are probably looking at, okay, want to spend this, want this project to achieve this, and then they go to the planning phase. In the planning phase, that's when they begin to talk about all of these things you asked.
All right, then. Thank you, sir.
Regina. Regina.
Sir. I'm sorry, I didn't know my hand was still up. I wanted to contribute to what the other lady was saying about costing. That was why I raised my hand up earlier.
Okay.
I don't know if I should still say it.
All right. Okay, yeah, it's fine. You can.
Okay. From what I understand, your project owner comes to you and tell you, I want this is the project I have in mind. This is what I want. I want you to execute this project, to bring this project to life. Now, as a technical project manager, we are not just going to assume the price that you want to use to execute that particular project. You have to do your feasibility study. You have to know how much developers collect for, let's say, salaries. You have to know how much they are collecting and how much you are willing to pay them. You have to know how much each stage, to complete each stage of that particular project, how much is going to cost, and how you're going to get that is by you making your own research and gathering information for yourself. That is when you can now come and meet the product owner and saying, okay, you want us to execute this project for you. This is the amount that we can use to the project. Now, after taking that, both of you are going to have to agree to the particular amount. Let's say $2,000 or $30,000. And after agreeing, You now go back to your developers and every other persons that are going to help to bring to make that project a success. You now meet each of them at each phase to bargain with them, to tell them, like employ them, okay, this is how much I'm willing to pay you for this particular task, this is what we are going to pay for this particular task at every phase, or else you overspend and or you the money will not be enough and you have to go back to go and meet the product owner. The money you gave us to execute this project is not enough. Then the product owner will question you. I came to you like you are a professional to execute this project for me, and you gave me an amount of money. You told me that amount of money is going to be able to execute this project. Why are you coming back to me? Then you can only bring a good point that in the course of executing this project, this is what um, we we encountered. Maybe we didn't foresee it or something like that. This is the reason why we need more money for this project to be completed or something like that. But before something like that will arise, you have to mitigate that by making deep research about all those kind of things. That's why you know how much you allocate to each particular task. I don't know, sorry, this particular task or milestone or whatever, something like that. That is on my own. That's what I understand. I don't know if you can get like a clear picture from the because I understand she was like, do you just assume that the amount of money is like this and just move with that? You don't just move like that. You plan, you make research. Okay, for us to execute this particular project, mobile, let's say mobile app development, we need developers, we need front end engineers, we need back end engineers, we need user interface, we need user experience, we need this. All those people, we are going to pay them. How much are they going to accept for this duration of period? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? Is it per a task? Or how are we going to do it? Then you accumulate all of that cost together. After that, you now put like your profit, I think so, your profit, your markup profit of the overall project. How much is going to cost to do overall project? Then you mark up profit, you add it to it. Then you go back to go and meet the product owner to negotiate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Regina. I'm happy we are able to contribute on matters like this. So, um, I hope that gives a clear picture to some people that don't understand, even if you do not understand my explanation. Okay. So, all right. Oh, another person's hand is even raised. Success. Oh, maybe it was a mistake. Halima.
Well done, sir. Good evening, good
It
morning,
wasn't a
everyone.
mistake. I've been talking since. Nobody can hear
Oh,
me. Hello.
We were not
okay, let
hearing
me
you. We were
mute
not hearing you.
myself.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said I should ask question for the recording during Q&A session. Please, I really need it. That's why I'm pressing. Please.
All right. Yeah, I'll work on that. I'll put it on the week one group. Since it's day 5, I'll put it on the week one group.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Halima.
So my question is for the teams that TPM is going to work with. Let's say in the team you don't have, let's say, developers or designers. Is it my
you don't have what?
responsibility, designers?
Okay.
You understand? UI UX maybe.
Okay.
So is it my responsibility as a TPM to go the process of hiring new designer, or should I just go to the CEO or the hiring team and let them know that I need this person and so um, expertise so that they will start planning of hiring? Or am I supposed to hire them myself? Because I thought it's not under TPM responsibilities.
Well, it depends. From the beginning of the project, was it not indicated that you need a designer?
Yeah, maybe it was indicated. You understand, the project needs developers, needs designers, you understand, needs maybe QAs, you understand. But
Yeah.
one of these teams are missing. What should I
If they are
do?
missing, like what missing in what sense?
Like the company doesn't have maybe QAs or these designers, and the project needs those expertise, you understand.
Well, if from the beginning of the project it would have been indicated that it needs those expertise. So if they don't have it, then if they have a hiring team, the hiring team proceeds. If they don't have a hiring team, they can assign someone to lead the hiring of that personnel, and it can be the TPM. So I mean, I've done it before. I've interviewed someone before, so it's possible.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to be dropping the attendance right now in the comment section and in the channel. As we go on our break, we'll be back by 12:30. The attendance is there right now. I just posted it, and I'm going to go and post it on the channel. So ensure that you sign. I don't. Some people have been texting me about not being able to sign attendance and things like that. If you message me directly, if you still don't have access to it, and let me just send it to you immediately. So ensure that you sign the attendance, please. All right. See you all in 30 minutes. What is your question? Please answer my question. What is your question? Oh, I'm in the project department. Mostly, does that mean it's not every project that follows that? Of course, it's not every project that follows that. It's not. Maybe I'll talk about this later on. Every project is dependent on the. There's no universal rule that every company must follow. Like that I've said it before that where I work, for example, or where I was working rather, you can we used to do sprint review and sprint retrospective together. Yes, I've seen your message, Abimbola Faith. You can put that in your hand. I'll send you the attendance. So it depends on the company you're working. All right. So yeah. And it means okay, well. So see you in 30 minutes, as I said. Hope we can all see the attendance in the chat box for those that can have access to it. Okay, so we are back. Can we hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yes, we can.
All right. So we know what time it is. It's a period where we learn, ask questions again based on simulated, or we like call it assignments of we give ourselves every day. So Mirabel is immediately raising her hand that before we will. All right, so let's begin. Mirabel, you can go ahead.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. So this is my assignment. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so the part one of the assignment, documentation, standard, and alignments.
Please, can you
So
zoom
the
in a
lesson
bit?
learned alignment. Sir?
Please, can you zoom in a bit? Your content is quite tiny. Thank you.
Can you see it now? So the lesson learned alignments. The insights gathered during the sprint retrospective will be consolidated to produce the final lesson learned document. This consolidation process involves identifying successful practices, challenges encountered, and the areas require improvement. The objective is to reinforce the best practices, implement corrective action for recurring issues, and encourage continuous improvement across future sprints and the overall project lifestyle. So the status report justification, the project sponsors requires a report that emphasizes focus rather than solely representing the current status, because proactive insight is essential for informed decision making. Forecasting offers visibility into upcoming tasks, resource implication, and timeline consideration, enabling early interventions where necessary. A status-only report is retrospective and does not provide sufficient insight to anticipate or prevent issue in advance. So the part two, automating meeting summaries, the risks, tasks, and facts. So the risk, the API latency risk is currently categorized as a yellow priority 2 risk, which may negatively affect system performance and user satisfaction if not addressed promptly. So the project team agreed to address the risks by allocating 2 days of dedicated engineering time to navigate and optimize performance issue affecting latency. The meeting output must be documented into 2 structured summaries. One, technical task-oriented updates intended for the development team, and one executive summary focused on business impact and assurance intended for the project sponsor. The part three, the AI-driven status report, drafting the risks, tasks, and format. The risks. At this stage, there are no active risks identified as the project is in a green status and is progressing as planned. The task communicates that the core features milestones are completed 3 days ahead of schedule, which resulted in a verified labor cost saving a verifiable labor cost savings at $6,000. Then the status report must be presented as a concise 3-bullet executive mail addressed to the VP of Engineering, focusing solely on overall project health, schedule advancement, and financial benefits without the use of technical technology. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Right. Thank you very much. Please let's not forget. Please let's try and do a summary. So we don't just read through it.
Okay.
Let's try and do a summary. Okay. Thank you. So do we have any questions for her?
Yes. Thank you so
Yes,
much,
just a feedback.
Rabia.
Yes.
Okay,
Go
Irene, do you
ahead,
want to?
please.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Mirabel. Thanks for the first part. I have some concerns as regards the second part. I discovered that when you were speaking, you had risk, task, and fact rather than role, task, either fact or format, right? And so your part two, part three was not necessarily in a prompt format because usually we would see things like as a technical project manager, you want to do this, you want to do that. My thinking is maybe you had asked an AI to help you with it. One of the key things we must also look out for when using AI is the fact that there are many acronyms that could mean different things. So sometimes the responsibility might be on you to really specify what you want it to work on, right? And then also double check the responses you are getting to make sure that it actually aligns with what you expect it to give you. That's the feedback I have. Thank you so much.
Yes. I also observed that. So I'm glad somebody raised it. I did not want to speak, as I've said. Um, any other questions for her?
Not really question, but a feedback too. So the aim of the prompt for the part three is one prompt generating two summaries, not to have two prompts for one for the two summaries. So according to the work, you have one prompt that will do two jobs for you. Just like you said, to have two deliverables. So not to split it for the VP and for the sponsor. So the one prompt should capture for both the VP and the product owner or project sponsor rather. So she kind of splitted it. Yeah.
Sorry, Irene, I beg to differ to your feedback. She gave two different prompts. There's part two, there's part three. Part two is the one that has two summaries to be generated for the development team and the project sponsor, right? Then part three is the VP of engineering. So actually, you're meant to have two different prompts. In your part two, the prompt is supposed to generate two outputs, but then part three is separated from it. And I think that was what she did. Maybe Mirabel
Okay.
could share her screen again. I don't know.
Maybe I
Yeah,
was
that's what I just wanted to say.
suggest
Mirabel, can
that
you share your screen
yeah.
again?
I also just while you're getting feedback, please don't stop sharing so that we'll be looking at your work while giving the feedback. Yeah.
Mirabel,
But
are you
that's
there?
fine.
Okay. So, what was the observation again, so we can see it accurately now? What was the observation from? I think it was Irene. Irene,
No, she can.
Anat.
Please scroll up. Let me see. Sorry. Scroll up for the part three. All right. Okay, he just even addressed for the VP of engineering, rather. So, all right. He's dropping my hand for Christ's sake.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions for her? Okay, Mirabel, thank you so much. Please let's acknowledge her work with our emojis. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Mirabel did not say anything throughout the observation. Mirabel, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to know you are still there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
next person, Choma, please. You can go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Trying to share my screen. Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I had put in, okay, this is my response. I went straight to the point. The part one documentation standards and the lessons learned alignment. The sprint retrospective provides valuable insights into what worked well, what didn't, and what can be improved. These findings will be compiled and refined throughout the project to form the final lessons learned document. This ensures that successes are repeated and mistakes are avoided in the future projects, contributing to continuous improvement and smarter planning. And then the second one, the status report justification. When reporting to the project sponsor, it's essential to focus on the forecast rather than just status. Sponsors are high-power stakeholders who need to anticipate risk and make strategic decisions. Forecasting helps forecasting helps them see what's coming, potential delays, budget shift, or resource needs, so they can act early and avoid costly surprises. Status alone only tells them what has already happened, which is too late to influence outcome. Then the two prompting I did, the prompt for the AI tool, the Otter AI and the Firefly said, act as a technical project manager and summarize a 60-minute technical risk review meeting focused on the API latency risk, which is currently classified as a yellow P2 risk. The team agreed to mitigate the issue by dedicating 2 days of engineering time to optimization. I need you to generate 2 separate outputs. The first one is for the development team, as in bracket to keep informed, then for which you will use a casual Slack-friendly tone. Highlight the risk discussed, the agreed mitigation plan, and any immediate action item. The second one is for the project sponsor. Manage closely. Use a formal tone suitable for email. Focus on the business impact of the risk, the mitigation strategy, and assurance that the issue is being actively managed. And then for the part 3, the prompts for AI to that's AI-driven status reporting drafting. I had used act as a technical project manager and draft a concise weekly status report for the VP of engineering. The report should be formatted as a 3 bullet point email and written in clear business language. Avoid technical jargon and WBS codes. The context should include the project status in green, the team completed core features 3 days ahead of schedule. This early completion saved $6,000 in labor costs. Please focus the report on milestone health and financial impact only. Thank you. I don't know, can you hear me? Please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, thank you. We can hear you.
Yes, you can.
Your
Okay.
screen just has partly. I don't know.
So my screen did what? I didn't get that.
Just has part 1 only displayed.
Oh, sorry. I was talking. I wasn't moving. Up till now, it's just a page. Can you see it? Is it moving?
Yes, I can see the
No,
part
I
two.
can't
Yes,
hear
it
you.
is. I was
It's
moving it. I
moving.
was reading it as I was moving it. Maybe it's your network. Thank you. I'm done.
All right. Do you have any questions for her? Do we have any observation or question for her? All right. If we do not, then it means that we need to acknowledge her work. Thank her
Thank
very
you.
much for doing it. And then the next person can go. And that is boy two.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bitumelo here. I will be sharing, but I just wanted to ask before the presentation, did we agree that we're only doing a single prompt? Because I did three prompts. So I think there was a debate as to are we doing one prompt or three prompts. So please excuse me, because I had already done three prompts. Ne? So the first part of my assignment was to talk about the lessons that we have learned and also the status report justification. So I say here that during each sprint retrospective, oh, I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I thought it stopped sharing. Okay, so during each sprint retrospective, our team carefully reviews what worked well, what challenges we faced, and the areas for improvement. These insights are recorded and organized so that by the end of the project, we can create a comprehensive lesson learned document. This document will capture the best practices, highlight the lessons from the setbacks, and also provide practical recommendations for guide future projects. And then I say here on my status that when preparing a report for the project sponsor, which we manage very closely, it is essential to focus on the forecast rather than just the past status. While the status updates tells what has already happened, focus show what is likely to occur, including the potential risks, the upcoming decisions, and the expected outcomes. This forward-looking view helps the sponsor take proactive action to keep the project on track and ensure strategic decisions are informed and timely. And then we get here. So this is I also wrote the executive report. I don't know if we had to write it, but I wrote it. I say here, good day, Mr. Israel. Here's a quick update on the mobile banking app project. The milestone progress, we have successfully completed the API integration. Regulatory approval is taking a bit longer than expected, which may delay the MVP launch by 10 days. We are currently $15,000 under budget thanks to the sufficient resource management. The main risk is regulatory review timing. We've brought in a short-term compliance consultant to help speed things up and protect the launch timeline. The overall status of the project is amber. And then here I have my prompt. Like I said, I did three. So I don't know if we're meant to do one or two, but I did three because I was breaking down my assignment in three different parts. So this is my prompt for the part one of my assignment. So I'm not going to read it out. I'm just going to move on to part two of this assignment just for the sake of time. And then my part two of the assignment says here is an automated post-meeting summaries. And then I wrote here that the meeting context is a technical risk review, which was 60 minutes. And the risk that was discussed is the API latency risk. And then the decision we took was that we are going to mitigate the risk. And then the action that we actioned was that we are going to dedicate 2 days of engineering time to optimize the performance schedule impact. none if completed in the sprint. And then I also have another prompt for this part two. Then I just said here, act as a technical project manager, summarizing a completed technical risk review meeting. And then I have here my task, generate two separate summaries from the transcripts. One, the development team, which we're keeping informed. Two, the project sponsor. And then also I have here my facts. But I'm not going to read them out. And then I have part three of my assignment, which is the VP of Engineering weekly status update. And then I say here, the overall status is green. Recent progress. The team finished the latest milestone 3 days ahead of schedule. The financial impact is we are completing early saved the project $6,000 in labor costs. And then I have another prompt here. So this is, oh yeah. Yeah, this is all. But if somebody's going to be adding feedback with regards to the prompts, please excuse me. I did not know that we had to do one instead of three. So I just picked it up when the presenters were presenting. Yeah, so this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions for her?
Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. I think I know you already said excuse, you asked to be excused for it, but I just wanted to understand the context for the part one prompt, like the CEO mail, like what part of the assignment like prompted you to create maybe the email that you read.
No, you know why I always create emails, because as part of the prompts that I do, so I'll write the prompt that is required from ASNE, and then I'll further prompt my ChatGPT to make me something that is personalized. So maybe I'll tell it that I'm going to be presenting this document at a meeting. So can we please personalize this document? And then my ChatGPT is then going to give me a personalized version of the assignment. Like so between me and I always tell my chat GPT that I am presenting this at a meeting, so you need to personalize it for me, and then this is what I get. But the reason for the three prompts was because I had broken down the assignment in three parts. So I did not do I've done it in 2 days. So day one I've done part one, and then I think yesterday, and then I finished the other parts in the morning. So that's why I've broken it down. But the reason why I got the email is because I'm always prompting it to personalize whatever I do. So I don't know how I got that right, but there's a relationship between the ChatGPT and myself. So it will always remember what I had told it to do even before what I tell it to do. So it will always give me like personalized things. So I don't know how I got to that point, but yeah, that's where we are. I hope I'm
Okay.
making sense. Yeah.
Yes, you do. I understand that. I think my question was more of, please, could you scroll up a bit? I saw the mail to, I think, CEO, and
Mr.
I think I
Israel,
said,
okay.
oh, so this is particularly for Mr. Israel, right? Maybe this is where my question is, because in the assignment, there's really nowhere where it said to send maybe a prompt. Like there was nothing around CEO, it was mostly a project sponsor. And that's really my question, right? Like the CEO executive status report, there was no part of the assignment that spoke around CEO. Or maybe the part two project sponsor, great development team. Then the part one is where I'm like, so where did the CEO come from? But it could also be based on what you said, right? I
Yeah.
just wanted to
I think it
clarify
comes
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes from a personalized thing point of view. Like if you tell it
Mm.
to if you like continue to prompt it to personalize things for you, it will always give you something personal that you can always present. I think I could be
Mm.
wrong. I stand to be corrected, but I think I got it because I'm always asking it to personalize the things that I ask it to give me.
All right.
Like I never want like just the generic things. I always want like personalized things. So it could be that I could be wrong, but I think it's because of the personalization.
All right. Thank you so much.
So just to clarify, Botumelu, so you missed day 6 task with day 7 task, right? So this for executive summary, that's this one that I'm looking at now, where you have budget under budget. That was for day 7. Or yeah, we are in day 8, right? That was for you missed 2 tasks together. So this was exclusively for today. We are in day 8. That was day 6 assignment. This one, where you said you are currently under budget, where the project is on amber because of the risk and all that. So for this one, you said, Mr. Israel, is for day 6 task. You just missed the 2 tasks together, I think. Yeah.
I think can you just maybe I don't want to go back to the Teams there, but can you I don't know if you'll be able to send it to me like after class or in the chat so that I can see it and note it down so that I can make changes. Because I don't because if I go back to Teams then I'm gonna stop sharing my work. So if you maybe you can note that down for me and then with just my name so that I can get that because I can't take notes now. But I
All
hear
right, no
you.
problem.
Yeah, thank
All
you so
right, no
much.
problem. So, Mr. Israel, my hand has dropped. I don't know why. So after Halima, I will be presenting. Thank you.
All right.
I think
Okay,
it's when
so
you speak,
do
probably
we
a
do
setting
we
on yours.
do we
Yeah,
have
because
any
I was
other
supposed to be the
questions?
second person, but I've gone down like I don't know.
Sorry about that.
So
Do we
after
have any other
Halima, please.
questions? All right, so let's celebrate our work, please. Thank you very much. I will just note I like the detailed the level of detail that you put into the work. And I also want to thank you for making me the CEO of this hypothetical company. I really appreciate being the CEO.
You're welcome.
All right. So Anna, you're next.
All right. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
All right.
Can
So
see
for the
your
part
screen.
1, thank you. Sorry, can you mute your mic?
Oh my goodness. Shemilore, you have a father. Yes,
Please,
you
can you
do.
mute your mic?
Do.
Who's that? Temilolu, wow, we can hear you, please.
Anna, you can unmute your mic and speak now.
Okay, I didn't see that. Someone muted me. Thank you. So yes, a sprint retrospective, occurs at the end of each sprint. So what it means that the team, it allows us to reflect on what worked well, what didn't, where improvements can be made. And these insights, provides real-time observations, continuous improvements, opportunities throughout the project. On the other hand, the lesson learned document is like a comprehensive document that is created at the end of the entire project. And so the lessons and the documents created sprint by sprint ensures that you have a rich, accurate input rather than relying on memory at the end of the project when certain details might have been forgotten. So for the project sponsor, a project sponsor is actually accountable for major decisions, ensuring that the project delivers strategic value. Hence, their priority is understanding what will happen next, not what has already occurred. So a forecast focused report equips them to be able to anticipate risk, allocate resources, make proactive decisions that keeps the project on track, whereas a status-only view provides limited future insights and reduces their ability to plan effectively. For the part 2, automating meeting summaries, my prompt says you're a senior technical project manager who is synthesizing insights from a technical risk review meeting. We specialize in producing risk-focused for different stakeholder audiences. Analyze the meeting transcript to generate 2 output sections. Number 1, the development team summary. Audience type is to keep informed, focus, the goal, what to include in the summary. Then for the project sponsor summary, the audience type is to manage closely the tone, the goal, and what to also include. Then the summaries should use bullet points, should keep language professional, do not rewrite the transcript, rather synthesize key points only, avoid jargon. Therefore, part three, AI-driven status report drafting. My prompt says you're a senior technical project manager who writes for senior technology leadership. The tone should be confident, precise, business value rather than technical detail. And based on the meeting transcript and available project context, generate a 3-bullet email for the VP of engineering, who is a keep satisfied stakeholder. Here is the context as we have in our assignment. Then the update must be extremely concise, contain no technical jargon, highlight the financial savings, use business value framing and leadership language. Thank you. I'm done presenting.
Anna, thank you very, very much. Do we have any questions? There are some persons, maybe I should even go into these people. There are some persons that I know have not ever heard their voice. I don't think they ever ask any question. They are just somewhere down. People like Tosin, Temi, Ruth, Ogunchukwu. I think I've heard Joy speak before. Yusuf. Okay, I think I've heard Maureen speak. Okay, I've heard this person speak. I've heard you speak. Okay. Well, I think it's still the same. We're rotating like same 50 or so people that usually contribute. But anyway, do you have any questions for her? Let me know. Hold up.
Sorry, please scroll up. Let me see your part one. Let me see the end of your part one, please.
Okay.
Okay. I think a project sponsor. I think the part one is why justification of lessons learned and justification of forecasters against status. So sorry. So you are comparing sprint retrospective and a project sponsor. I don't get. So maybe.
No. Go ahead.
So was it because I wasn't reading line by line? Was the facts okay? The final lesson rather than relying on project sponsor is accountable for. Right. Okay. You embedded it into the
Yeah, so what I did
sentence.
was to just see how the two of them like meet, where they meet, right? We know sprint retrospective is like happening, gradually throughout the entire project. Lesson learned is at the end of the project, and really all the information or that we've been able to gather sprint by sprint would now help with creating the final document, the lesson learned. So it was just me trying to just oppose the importance of the sprint retrospective at the end of the project in creating lesson learned documents.
Just glancing through, if I don't take my time to start going to third line, I'll be like, you're talking about, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I said just a glance. One would think that you're talking about a project sponsor and sprint retrospective. So although it's still captured there, but I think the M, which is you just to justify lessons learned and sprint, even if you want to do the set induction, it should be after, like it should be at the forefront, notwithstanding. Yeah. Because I was looking at this, I was like, she's talking about sprint retrospective and project sponsor. So upon reading through and also where you embedded the task.
All right. Thank you for the feedback. Mr. Israel.
All right. Any other question? Anat, let's celebrate her for doing the work. Thank you for yourself and the others that constantly share their screen and assignments. Halima. Halima.
Good
Also, before
afternoon,
Halima
everyone.
speaks,
Okay.
please, if you have any issues, you have any problems, please feel free to reach out. Please and please reach out. Can reach out to me. Can send a mail if you want to go through official channels. But if you have any, please reach out. It's very important. Okay. Thank you. Halima, you can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Let me see. Oh, this is my network today again. Please bear with me just a minute. Let me see. Okay. Can anyone see my screen now? Hello?
Yeah, we
It's
can
coming
see.
up.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, we can
okay.
see your screen.
Okay, so and the seven assignment, documentation, standards, and AI automation. So this day's assignment was all about documentation and how a technical project manager can use AI tools to make reports and meeting summaries faster and smarter. And for the part one assignment, I was able to keep the food project records. I explained the lessons we learned after each sprint, which will later help us build a final lesson for the project and the next work that's supposed to be done. In a summary, you can see that I mentioned the reporting to project sponsor and the part two of the assignment is where I give the AI my prompt. I act as a professional technical manager, project manager. I think I don't need to read it out, but you can see it clearly. Sorry? Feels like someone was talking.
No,
So
go
the
ahead, please.
prompt was the prompt was to summarize the meeting we had about the API latency risks, and the AI was asked to produce two summaries for the same meeting, one for the development team, which will explain what is needs to be fixed and how. Then the other one is for the project's sponsor. And for the part three, is another prompt using the RTF format to give a short weekly report for the BP of engineering, and the report will focuses on impact, like let's say when the team finished the major tasks at like 3 days before the expected date, and because of that we were able to save like $6,000, and the project health is reading green color, that is like healthy. So in all of this, I think what I can say, AI can help technical project managers to work smarter, communicate better, to make everything simple, like the information that you want to deliver across all the teams, so that everyone will understand what you are trying to tell them. So that is all from my end. I'm open to questions, recommendations, advice, and all that. Thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions for her? All right. Let's please acknowledge our work, please. Let's do that very importantly. Thank you very much, Alima, for sharing. Irene, you can go next.
All right. Can you all see my screen? All right. So good everyone. So we are asked to justify why status forecast is better than status reports. So just like we have learned that lessons learned is all of the closure phase, what worked well, and what needs to be improved on in the next project. So that will give an insight to what will happen next if such project comes up, and also for subsequent projects that will happen. Hence, the need for the lessons learned with the sprint, just like you do at the end, will help to know what will in subsequent projects. So for the status report, so its forecast is better because it helps you to know what is gonna happen as against what has already happened, because you can't change what has happened already, right? So the forecast will help you to mitigate the risk that is likely to happen in future. Hence, the forecast is better than the status report. So for automating meeting summaries, so this is the prompt I embedded the two prompts in one. The response parts of what is needed, but I just decided to put it out there, which is the report. So for the part 3, so this is the prompt I also used for the part 3 to draft the status reports to the VP of Engineering. So this is the prompt. So this is the prompt. So I decided also to put the email for where, but this is the prompt. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Yes, do we have any questions for her? Now, I hope that we are not just imputing it in the AI tool we are using, and then not actually understanding what it is that we are doing. So it's important we understand it as well. Anyway, thank you, Irene. Let's react to that. Thank you, Irene, for sharing with us. Christy. Christy, are you there? Right, Mufta. Mufta, can you hear me? Success.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know those two first persons. I don't know if they can hear me. So maybe you can go ahead.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. Trying to share my screen.
I'm not hearing anything again. Is it just me?
It's just you we're hearing.
Give me one moment, please. I'm trying to share my screen. Thank you. It's loading.
Hello, everyone. Okay, Sir Israel, am I the next person?
Success is sharing. So once success is done, I'll call you.
Please, can we hear me? Can someone answer me, please?
Can we
Success
see
is
my screen now,
sharing.
please?
Once success is done, I'll call you.
Let's confirm we can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
All right. So, thank you. But one of the assignments, the lessons learned, the summary of the lessons learned is um insights from each sprint retrospective will serve as building blocks for the final lessons learned documents. Come on, move away from my screen. By capturing team feedback, improvement areas, and implemented actions sprint by sprint, the technical project manager ensures continuity and accuracy. At project closure, all of these cumulative insights will be organized and refined into a complete record of effective practices, recurring challenges, and how performance evolved throughout the mobile banking app project. Then status report justification. When reporting to a managed closely stakeholder like the project sponsor, focusing on forecast, what will happen is vital because it supports proactive governance. Sponsors rely on forward-looking data to anticipate challenges, approve resources, and adjust priorities. While status reports describe what's already occurred, forecast-driven updates, they empower them to make timely, strategic decisions that safeguard delivery, costs, and quality outcomes. The part two prompt, RTF prompt, you are an AI meeting assistant supporting a technical project manager after a 60 seconds technical risk review focused on the API latency risk. From the meeting transcript, generate two separate summaries. First one, development team summary, keep informed, stakeholder, use concise, technical language, highlight the root cause, mitigate plan, treat mitigate with 2 days of engineering optimization, responsible owners and timeline, present the next steps in bullet form for easy action tracking. The other summary for project sponsor summary, use executive outcome focused language, explain the decision made, expected impact on delivery, confidence, and assurance that no major delays are anticipated. Avoid jargon, emphasize business continuity, and mitigate confidence. Then instruction from the transcript, extract facts, decisions, and action items related to the API latency risk and produce both summaries clearly labeled for their respective audiences. Part 3, the prompt is you are a technical project manager drafting a 3 bullet point executive email for the VP of engineering. The tone must be brief, financial impact oriented, and free of technical or WBS terms. The contents, project status, core features milestone completed 3 days early and then result $6,000 labor cost savings. Instruction for this prompt, create a professional email, a short subject line, weekly project health updates. For an example, 3 clear bullet points summarizing overall health, milestone progress, and financial savings. A brief positive closing line reinforcing continued project alignment and delivery confidence. Sorry. Am I still in this meeting? That's all.
Please, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
You're constantly using instructions and context. So I'm a bit confused the way you arranged your RUTF prompt.
Processes of citizenship by birth, by registration, by
I'm
naturalization,
confused. Who is talking? I'm hearing
by birth,
citizenship.
Irene, you're not
registration.
mute.
Listen,
We can hear you.
Please, did you get my question?
All right. Irene, could you repeat yourself, please? Success, you have been asked a question.
I asked a question, sir.
Yes, I'm asking you to repeat it, and then Success, I was telling her that she's been asked a question.
Okay. Please, can you explain the way you arrange your RUTF prompt? You keep on using context and instructions separately. So it doesn't really follow the RUTF prompt format. So that's why I'm asking if you can explain or defend why you chose to arrange it this way. Thank you.
Success, do you have an answer to that question? Success.
I am very sorry. My mic was on mute. I am sorry. I've been talking since. Sorry, I apologize, please. So I was saying that. Let's confirm you can hear me now, please.
Yes.
Can you
Okay,
hear
so
you?
so I was saying that the idea of the contest and instruction, I don't know, assuming I didn't have the summary report, but you're just giving it what I want the prompt to produce for me. The report, what I want in the report, that's the, what's the right way to put it? That's the AI tool should produce for me. I'm giving it instructions on what to do, the context that I want for that report. Say this is the result of the costs. For example, this is the result I want, $6,000, and then the project status should be healthy, green, and then how I want it to be should be a short subject line. I give it an instance, and then I want it in bullet form, or it could be in check form, check boxes, and then a brief positive closing. That's what I meant by context and instruction.
What I'm trying to point out is it doesn't follow the RTF format. It's like you creating your own. You can still do all this within the RTF format. And then besides, Mr. Israel is even emphasizing on us using one sentence in one sentence. So if you do it in the RTF format, there's no need for this context and instruction because everything is already captured in it. That's what I'm trying to point out.
If I get you correctly, you're saying all of it's in this heading. That's what is that what you're trying to say? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding you. Or you're asking why there's a context and instruction. I'm sorry if I don't understand you, please.
In one sentence, that was what Mr. Israel asked. So you can inculcate all of this in one sentence.
Oh, okay. I think
Yeah,
I
it's
understand.
just for your, that is all.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, do we have any other questions or observations? Okay, let's acknowledge our work. Thank you, success.
Thank you.
Christy, if you are ready now. Mufta, what about you?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Let me share my screen. Okay, please confirm if you can see my screen. Hello, can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Israel. So this is my assignment. That's the first one, which is the status justification report. This is my AI prompt. Act as a technical project manager. Generate a status justification report for the project sponsor, which is a managed closely stakeholder with focus on forecast than simple status in respect of mobile banking app project that has just completed its latest sprint retrospective. Explain in one short paragraph on how the findings from the sprint retrospective will be used to generate the final lessons learned document at the end of the project. Keep it clear and professional. So this is my prompt generated. This is the first one, which is the status justification report for the project sponsor. And then this is the second one, which is the findings from final lessons learned. The insights captured in this retrospective, root cause analysis, process gaps, successful collaboration patterns, and mitigation strategies will be consolidated into the project's continuous improvement log and tracked through subsequent sprints. At project closure, these accumulated insights will be synthesized into the final lessons learned document, ensuring that improvement actions, validated solutions, and organizational learning are fully documented and reusable for future engineering and product delivery initiatives. Then the second one, this is my AI prompt, which is a summary from the meeting. The generated is the post-meeting summary for the development team. And then the second one is the post-meeting summary for the project sponsor. This is the brief from the meeting. Following the 60-minute technical risk review, the API latency concern has been validated as an A-level yellow P2 risk with potential impact on user experience and MVP performance if left untreated. To preserve delivery predictability, the engineering team will execute a 2-day targeted optimization effort, which is expected to stabilize response times without affecting the overall release plan. A progress update will be provided at the mid-sprint risk checkpoint, and the final outcome will be shared once the optimization work is completed and tested. Then the third one, which is the part 3 of the assignment, does the acting as a project manager to generate a report for the final weekly status update for the VP engineering. So this is the prompt generated. Final weekly status update, which is a 3 points as requested from the AI prompt. It must be a 3-point email containing no WBS code, and then technical jargon should not be available. Keep it extremely concise, focus on high impact, and translate technical progress into financial value. Then this is my 3 prompts I got. So thank you. That's all from me.
All right. Do you have any questions for her? Do we have any questions? If we don't, let's acknowledge her. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. So let me call the very next person.
No, yes, yeah.
So guys should be hear me, right?
Pardon. Yeah,
Good
Maybe
afternoon,
let's
sir.
hear from you.
Okay, let me share
Yes,
my
good afternoon.
screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes,
We
you
can
can.
see your screen.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Elaine Mariam, and this is the part one of the assignment. The answer. So, I said the key findings, successful practice, and identify areas for improvement documented during each sprint. Basically, add out as an incremental input for the final lesson learned document rather than starting from scratch. We already have like segment that we get from each sprint. Just put them together. Basically, that's what is in this paragraph. And then the status report justification. If we are reporting to a managed closely stakeholder, we must emphasize for forecast, which is what will happen over just status, what we've done, because we already established that they have power, but they're not interested in the project process. So what they want to know is what is going to happen in the coming future. Is there going to be any hindrance so that they can make proactive and strategic decisions that will make sure that the project is on track and we can mitigate any risk? That's basically what's in this paragraph. And then part two, automating meeting summaries. This was my prompt to my chat GPT. I said, you are a technical project manager who just finished a crucial 60-minute technical weeks review meeting with the lead developer and the architect. The meeting focused on the review of the API latency risk, which is the yellow P2 risks, and the team agreed to treat, which is mitigate the risk by dedicating 2 days of engineering times optimization. Write a post-meeting summary for the development team, a keep informed stakeholder, and the project sponsor, which is a managed closely stakeholder, respectively. Keep the report coincide and keep into account the nature of each stakeholder. And then it gave me 2 separate responses. For the part 3, which is AI driven status report drafting, my prompt was act as a technical project manager who's My prompt was act as a technical project manager whose team successfully finished the WBS 1.1, which is the core feature, 3 days ahead of schedule. Finishing 3 days early save the project this amount of money in labor cost. The project status is good, which is healthy. Write a final weekly status update for the VP of Engineering, a keep satisfied stakeholder. This report must be extremely concise, 3 bullet points email focus on high level impact and contain no WBS codes or technical jargon. It must only reference the financial saving and the overall project milestone health. So that was the prompt I gave it, and it gave me 3 bullet points email for the VP. That's all. Thank you.
Is it an email?
Right.
What's that?
Thank you very much.
I think somebody was asking a question.
Yes, if someone's asking, go ahead. You can go ahead if you're asking a question. Okay, seems like there's no question. All right, let's acknowledge your work. Acknowledge your work, rather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Please, can we see my screen?
For me, no.
Okay, no. I'll stop share again.
It's up now. It's up now.
The screen is no more showing now.
Okay, I'm back now. Can we see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So the first, as the part one, the lesson learned alignment. So I just explain how the sprint retrospective captures what worked, what did not work, and what we agreed to improve on. So these notes is not just for the team. It's going to be compiled in our source of truth, our single source of truth, and then we can later combine these bits and pieces to create the final lesson learned document at project closure. Instead of creating a document from scratch, we can just collect insights in small bits throughout the project. So my status report justification. So having established that the project sponsor is a managed closely stakeholder, and that status tells us the past, forecast protects or forecast and tells us the future, which is what matters to this sponsor, the executive sponsor who controls budget decisions and escalation. So forecast will enable them to make more informed decision and be able to capture risk early enough before it becomes an escalated issue or before it turns into a problem. So that's the justification for forecasting to the project sponsor rather than just giving them status reports. So the part two of it, my RTF prompt, I said act as the technical project manager who has just completed a 60-minute API latency risk review meeting. Using the transcript attached, I'm just assuming that I have the transcript from Otter AI after the meeting. So using the transcript attached, generate two separate summaries. The first is a brief action-oriented Slack update for the development team, a keep informed stakeholder, and the second is an executive-styled summary for the project sponsor, a managed closely stakeholder, focused on business impact and next steps. It should state API latency risk, yellow P2. Agreed action is to mitigate by allocating 2 days of engineering time for optimization. Then use the communication tone and structure appropriate for each audience, for each of these summaries. So the part 3 of my assignment, the RTF prompt to the VP of Engineering says act as a project manager, generate a 3-bullet emailed update for the VP of Engineering. A keep satisfied stakeholder states that the project status is green, core features were completed 3 days early, resulting in $6,000 labor cost saving. No WBS codes, no technical jargon, focus only on milestone health and financial impact. So this was my assignment. Thank you. Any questions?
I actually have a question, but it's not a question to Deborah directly. More of an observation. Um, we have been saying it. We have been including it in our prompts, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The term "no technical jargon" just keeps rubbing me off the wrong way. I don't know if it's only me because I hear no technical jargon. They are technical jargons. So what if the prompt decides to include technical things that are not jargons, and then the person you're sending it to doesn't understand? It cannot just be only me that keeps saying that no technical jargon, because I know I've never said in the include it in the prompt no technical jargon. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, or is there any other person that has thoughts on that?
Yes, even me, like I've been wondering, like almost everybody always includes that in their prompts, and I don't, but I still get almost the same results. So
Hi, Mr.
I
Israel.
mean, because there is yeah, go ahead, whoever was speaking.
Yes. So in the homework actually for the part 3, when you wrote on the constraint, you said the report must be a 3-point bullet point email and contain no WS codes or technical jargon. So
Really?
I believe that's where
Yes,
the
it's in the question.
Which day was that?
This
Was it every day or
homework,
last assignment?
this last assignment, I'm not sure of previous ones, but this particular last one, there was the no WS codes and technical jargon. Maybe if the person currently presenting can show us the slides where the assignments are.
Interesting.
I agree because you said no technical jargon since and no WBS code. So it's part of the requirements for this task.
Yes, I'm trying to show my
If that's the case, my mistake. Then I'll definitely exclude it, because the reason why I actually observed that was, there are some certain things that are technical jargons. There are some things that are just not necessary, and then the AI can decide to exclude it. And then there are some technical things that are not jargons that are relevant to the project, and the AI can decide to include it. So I keep seeing that no technical jargon, and I've been wondering, like, technical jargon, I don't know, it keeps rubbing me up the wrong way. I did not even know that I included it. I'm very, very sorry. I think when I was probably collating the assignments, then generating an assignment based off of that, it's now created, use those keywords that was used. So I'm sorry. So I take that back. So I think it was Deborah that was speaking. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Do we have any questions for her? Okay, so if we don't, let's acknowledge.
Hello,
Yes.
good afternoon, sir. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, concerning these technical jargons, because I heard sometimes back that if you are writing a prompt, so that it will exclude some things that are not useful on your prompt, that you can use no technical jargons. So I don't know what stance is that, like, what is the essence of that technical jargons? And then why are we not using it?
You've answered the question already.
Okay.
You answered it already. It's to exclude things that are not necessary, like you said.
Yes, but you just said that we should not use technical jargons, because there are some
No.
technical things that might be
You know,
important.
what I meant was that, there are some things that are like, depending on the context, of course, there are some things that are absolutely not necessary. The CEO or the project sponsor or whoever it is you are sending the report or the mail to doesn't need to know all those things or doesn't even understand those things, right? But in many cases, AI is still not as smart as we would like it to be. Sometimes you can say, don't include this. I don't know if any of us has encountered that before. Has anybody
I did in
encountered?
one of my.
Yes.
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 When you say, don't include this particular thing, and it now goes ahead to still include that thing. Then when you now, one thing I always do now is to threaten it. Like, I'm warning you, if you include this thing again, this is the last time I'm going to use you, and he will apologize. And guess what? It still includes it again. So in many instances, the AI is not the smartest yet. Okay. So when we say no technical jargon, we don't want all of those unnecessary nonsense. I just know that